an e-commerce application or a website. So this is the application we're going to be testing today, and it's an e-commerce application. I'm going to go through a quick exploratory test or something just to give us an idea of what this website does. So I'm going to log in with valid credentials now. So this shows us um, just like the regular e-commerce sites that you know, with all the products. So it also has the carts, the feature here where you can add some items to carts and then you can check out. So let's try adding some items to the carts. So once I click on add item to cart, notice that it's indicated there that we have one added. So as many as I add, it will be shown there. So when I click on the cart to see what I've added, so I can see all the items I've added on the cart, and I can click on checkout, provide details. Let me say Jake, this is not my name. Cool. Some random numbers there. Then continue. When I click on continue, it shows me the overview of my cart, and then I can see the total items that I am buying, the tax, and then the grand total. So what we want to test now, so once I click on finish, it tells me thank you for your order. So what we want to test now is this feature, these functionalities, to add the functionality to add carts, to remove from the carts, because if you check down, you see that you can add to the carts, you can remove from the carts. So those functionalities are some things that we will need to check. And then obviously the login and logout functionality. So to confirm that the user is logged in, you will see the logout button. And to confirm that the user is logged out, you will see the login button. So we're going to prepare test cases that will handle all these checks down to where we have the total item that is being bought, the tax, those calculations done. So I'm just going to show you the test, the automated test scripts that I wrote. And then we'll do a quick test run. Then maybe we'll find times to show how this is done. Okay, so this is the project. So one of the things I would like to quickly explain is the page object model that was used, or that is recommended when preparing your automated test cases. You should be able to separate your the pages from the test cases. So that's the idea of the page object model. So I have all my locators or selectors in one package, separate from where I have my test case. So that's the idea of the page object model. So I'm going to close all the windows here now so that you can, all the tabs here, so you can see what is in each of these tabs. The website. I showed you the website that we are testing. And then one of the first things that you saw was the login page. So this is where I'm able to capture all because every web page has web elements. So I'm able to capture all the elements of the login page. So this is the way I'm able to use my drivers to interact with those elements. So these elements here, so it's very important for you to use selectors in capturing those elements. And then one of the selectors that I recommend is the expert. So let me quickly show you this part selector. So if you have your browser with you and you're able to access the application, you for you to interact with this with any elements on the page, you have to first and foremost install the extension on your browser called Select Hub. So on my own browser, I already have the Select Hub installed. That's why you are seeing the option here. So if I want to, for instance, interact with this username field here, I will just check here, select, right click on the page on that particular field and go to inspect. Then I will see my Select Hub tab here. So if I want to select this particular field, I'll just do this, copy relative expert. So just to confirm that I selected the right one, I paste it here and it's able to identify that one element matched. So let's see if we can do the same thing for this one. So this is just to explain how I'm able to capture the elements. See that it also captures that element. So all these selectors is what I have put together here in the login page file here. So this is the one for username, this is the one for password, this is the one for the login button, this is the selector for the hamburger menu. Hamburger menus, you see it once you have logged in. There are those three lines is the hamburger menu. Then the login logout button, because this has to do with login, so we also address the logout here. The error message, the selector that contains the error message when there is a failed login. Okay, so yeah, so first things I put together all those selectors and store them in variables, their corresponding variables like username, password, this and so that's. Then I proceed with performing operations like, for instance, entering a valid username. So this is a method that you use in entering a valid username. So in this method, you can see that there is a parameter passed in that method. There is a string for my user. So now this is just for to enter a valid username. You know that you can either enter a valid or invalid username. So this is just to help in entering a valid username. So because our driver does not have an let's say an implicit weight, we have to state the weight explicitly, else is going to time out. So this weight that is being implemented here is to declare that explicit weight on the driver while you enter the user. Why just to be sure that this element is visible on the page. So that's why you see something like this: expected condition dot visibility of element located by expert. So it checks this, and then okay, this statement here is not is optional, but I guess I did this to ensure that the previously entered username does not remain there when there is a rerun. But it's not required, it's optional. This is the most important one here. This is the option that sends the keys to, so we have my user now. So this my user is going to carry the value of the valid user that will be passed and then entered into. I think by now you already understand how to set up a method, which is what I did here. So the driver finds this element. When I press Ctrl and I click on a variable, it takes me to where it's declared, and then send key based on the user or on our inputs when this method is called. So it sends that key into this, and this is what is also replicated on in other method like this: enter invalid password, enter invalid username, enter invalid password. Then there's another method to click on the login button. So it's expected that when you have entered the login ID, credentials that you can click on the button. So this is done by using the dot click method. So it's still the same thing, but in this case, instead of doing dot send key or using dot click, so the next thing is I will check whether the login is successful, because when you start playing test cases, you want to confirm if you successfully log in or if it failed. So this method is obviously going to return a boolean result. So I'm sure by now you understand that boolean conditional, let me say true or false, anything that returns true or false is boolean. So it's going to return. So how does it check when there's a successful login? So the confirmation of successful login is that he saw or he can see a logout button. So once the driver can see a logout button, it simply means that the user is successfully logged in. So that's why you see something like this here. To check, click on the hamburger menu. Let me show you what it's doing. I will run it and we'll see what it's doing. Then you check to see if the logout button is displayed. This displayed is an implicit method, uh, so it checks if the logout is displayed. So how does it check to know if login failed? So when there's a failed login, there's usually, for instance, now let me simulate a failed login. See that it shows an error message here that is saying username and password does not match, which is what we have here as an expected error message. So we have expected error message. So I check if that error message is displayed, and I store it in a boolean variable. So it's going to be either true or false. And I also check, obviously, I have an actual is what does it display? What did the okay when the driver performs that operation and gets the text here, let the text be stored in a variable actual